Hello, my co-highs. Hope you're all doing well. I am your host, Tyrannosenpai, and welcome to today's Jurassic World Dominion Breakdown. And today, we're going to be breaking down everything from the Legacy Featurette that came out a couple days ago, and the TV spot that came out as of last night, as of recording this. But before we do, I do want to say that 85% of you guys who watch my videos currently aren't subscribed to the channel. So, if you guys constantly find yourselves coming back to my channel and watching my videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because at 975 subscribers, I will be opening all of these Pokemon cards. I have a total of 52 altogether, and we're going to be doing a Race to 1,000 stream with these. And of course, once we also hit 1,000, we will also be doing the one chip challenge. So, if you guys want to see me suffer and open these Pokemon cards as well, why not go ahead and hit that subscribe button? We talk about things like Jurassic World, Prehistoric Kingdom, the Isle, and everything in between. So, yeah. With that said, I think now we're just going to go ahead and break down the trailers. Of course, I will also not be including everything in the featurette. We'll only be talking about the newest footage that we have. So that way I'm not dealing with a long-ass video. So, our first new clip, we see Cowboy Owen running along in the snow, hurting the Parasaurolophus like we did see in the previous trailer. However, there is now another scene showing Owen by himself chasing a lone Parasaurolophus with a lasso in his hands. It seems that during the chase, Owen has managed to separate one Parasaurolophus from the rest of the herd. This one looks like it has the colors from the Lost World Parasaurolophus, which is pretty cool. However, the model is different to represent a more scientifically correct animal. I actually can't tell if that's a lasso or a whip. It's hard to tell, but it could be either or. But I think it's pretty cool. We can see that Owen has, in fact, managed to separate one Parasaurolophus from the herd. I don't know why this one specifically, but whatever. As the Legacy featurette continues on, we then come to a scene where Ellie Sadler and Claire Deering are looking up at something with a car that's been flipped over right behind them. This is probably after that scene where we see the Nasutoceratops flip over one of the cars, or maybe not. I don't know. However, the car is steaming, it's dark, it's night, there's a yellowish-orange light, which could be fire or something else. But it's clear that Ellie Sadler and Claire are looking up at something. We're not sure what, we can't see it, but chances are it's probably a dinosaur of some sort. And I'm willing to bet my money on anything that it's the Giganotosaurus that we'll be seeing here shortly. Our first official look at the Dreadnoughtus outside the Jurassic World Dominion prologue. We see it kind of like in the water, just chilling, hanging. The sun is setting. In the background, we see what looks like a Biosyn helicopter. And this is probably the moment where Alan Grant is in the chopper, with Ellie Sadler, investigating this Biosyn Sanctuary, as it's apparently called now. In the background, we can also see a Pteranodon flying. But this Dreadnoughtus, it looks so cool. I like the design of this dinosaur. I'm looking forward to seeing what its colors are like, because we only see it in dim lighting situations. So I'd like to see what this Dreadnoughtus looks like completely. Because the Mattel figure that came out for it, or that's going to come out for it anyway, is like a green color. I don't know. This looks a bit more gray than green, but hey, I'm looking forward to seeing what this is. And potentially, this could be the largest sauropod in the Jurassic franchise so far, as Dreadnoughtus is a type of Titanosaur, and they're known to be the biggest dinosaurs of all. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this one looks when it comes out. And then we're followed with the scene by Ellie Sadler coming out of the car with sunglasses on. She looks like she's out on a farm of some sort. Wind blowing. This is probably the scene just before they're attacked by a bunch of those prehistoric locusts, as apparently that's what they are. They're actually a bunch of prehistoric genetically modified locusts. Now you might be wondering, well, where the hell did the locusts come from? Well, actually, we did see one on the leg of a Dreadnoughtus in the prologue, which I'll go ahead and throw up here. So it's possible that that it wasn't just the dinosaurs that were cloned, but also these insects that lived along with them. And we'll talk about that later on down the line, as we talk about more about, Biosyn and things like that. And then in the next few shots, we see Um, a couple of things going on. We see Owen and Claire looking up at something in the firelight. We have that observation tower that we've been seeing everywhere in the Jurassic media, whether it was the Kerplunk game, whether it was the new board game that came out, I forgot what it was, or, of course, the trailer. And they're clearly looking up at something. We don't know what. Probably the Giganotosaurus, maybe, but then where are the other characters? Maybe they're probably looking up at a fight, because there is actually an image from Empire Magazine that shows the Giganotosaurus and Rexy fighting each other, and I'll go ahead and throw it up. And it looks like it's the exact same lighting from that moment, because if we look at the trees in the background, they're kind of lit up from behind, and from the image of the T-Rex and the Giga, I think they're lit up in the exact same way. So they're probably watching this fight unfold in front of their eyes. They're probably watching the Giganotosaurus and the T-Rex duking it out. I'm quite excited to see that one, actually. I have a feeling that Rexy might be the one to come up on top this time. Because it was set up in the prologue, right? The Giganotosaurus killed Rexy 65 million years ago, like her ancestor, her direct mother, I guess? DNA donor? I don't know, and frankly, it's all too confusing to understand. Either way, this is a literal rematch, 65 million years in the making. It's a grudge match. It's two of the world's biggest carnivores duking it out once again after millions and millions of years. It's finally time for Rexy and the Giga to square off again, and because the T-Rex was killed in the prologue, I get the feeling that it set up the T-Rex's victory in Dominion. It kind of gives me Godzilla vibes in a way, like King of the Monsters, because we know that King Ghidorah was like an ancient rival of Godzilla's, and Godzilla sealed him away. The only difference is that Godzilla actually beat Ghidorah the first time, and Rexy didn't beat the Giga the first time. So I'm thinking that Rexy's going to win. I don't know if she's going to die or not. I mean, I've heard that she's got plot armor because Steven Spielberg said that T-Rexes weren't allowed to be killed. So I think Rexy might survive this. I'm not sure how she's going to kill the Giga. I'd like to see her kill it in a way that's like similar to how her ancestor died in Dominion. It's kind of like a deja vu sort of thing, but I don't know. Anyway, I'm rambling, so let's keep moving. In the next shot, we then see Alan Grant in a very Indiana Jones-esque shot with a torch. I heard a lot about like some of the scenes in this movie were inspired by Indiana Jones, and I think that's pretty cool because I've actually watched those. Wasn't a real fan of the Crystal Skull one. I forgot what the one was. But Raiders of the Lost Ark. Oh, that was brilliant. Love that one. Apparently, I'm assuming that this is in an amber mine, which is apparently one of the settings in the film. And in this, there's supposedly a Dimetrodon, which is going to be our first introduction to the creature in the Jurassic franchise. Now, there was a taxidermed one in Lockwood Estate, like in the display. However, that was a dead one. That one wasn't alive. This one, however, is going to be the living, breathing animal, and I'm quite excited to see it. Dimetrodon is one of my personal favorite prehistoric animals. I really wish they had a Gorgonopsid, though. That would have been even cooler. I love Gorgonopsids, like Insterancevia, Gorgonops, Archtops. I love those guys. They're pretty cool. I love their wolf-like bodies. Oh, they're just so sick looking. But hey, we're getting Dimetrodon, which is pretty cool, and I can't complain about that. So continuing on, we then see the cast, the Legacy and the newer cast, all together in this one room. We see Ian and Claire on the computers. We see Alan and Ellie looking over at something. We don't know what. I'm assuming that at this point they're in a biosyn facility since they're all together. And in the corner, we can also see DeWanda Wise's character. I'm pretty sure her name's Kayla or something like that. I don't remember. But we see her there. I think they're looking over at something. Like something just went down, like either a biosyn executive's coming in or a dinosaur's broken in, something like that. I don't know. But hopefully we'll find the answer to that soon enough. And then we see Claire and Owen, and this looks like it's from the airplane attack by the Quetzalcoatlus, holding on for dear life. This is probably just as the Quetzalcoatlus is about to attack the plane, because we do see a small clip of it rushing toward the plane. and then ripping it apart. I think this is just before the cat actually smashes through the glass and then rips it apart. I think this is just after that or before it. Like, they're bracing themselves for the impact that is coming. And then we get a shot of, weirdly enough, Owen running through the snow. Now, this could be one of two things. It could be that this is a shot of him running after Blue or what was it? Blue or Beta when they're running through the snow together. This is probably just like when he was chasing them. Or maybe this is when Beta has been captured and Owen's now chasing after them, even though it's kind of useless at this point. Maybe it's one of those two scenes. I don't know. Then we see the entire cast, Owen's falling on the ground, glass shattering, and I'm assuming that they're being attacked. I don't know by what, but I'm trying so hard to try to figure out. Whatever it is, it looks like it's human-sized. It could be a human, but by the looks of their faces and by the fact they're all panicking, it's probably a dinosaur attack. It could be an Atrociraptor, or it could be a Dilophosaurus. Either one. But I think it's really cool to finally see all these cast members together, both legacy and new. That's just amazing. And then we see, once again, Ellie and Claire walking together through, these hallways. It's lit up in red lights. They're very sneaky. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of dynamic these two have. We have the legacy, the legendary Ellie Sadler alongside Claire Deering. That's going to be pretty cool. We got two major female cast members walking alongside each other. That's pretty sweet. We then, oddly enough, see another weird dynamic, which is Owen and Ian walking down together in the same hallway. I think it's very, I wonder what kind of dynamic Ian and Owen are going to have together. That's going to be bizarre, because, we have Ian, who's always, on the side of, well, dinosaurs should have been extinct in the first place, they never should be here. And then Owen, who, went out of his way to try to help Blue, of all things. Yeah, I'm not sure how this one's going to go down. It's very bizarre. And the next shot, we see Dr. Grant, Ellie Sadler, and Maisie running along together in a well-lit room. Ellie and Alan are wearing biosyn, coats together, and Maisie isn't. I think Maisie was captured or something like that. I think she was kidnapped by biosyn. Well, that would make sense because she's the first human clone in the Jurassic franchise. Of course, they probably want her. And Grant and Ellie are working together to sneak her out of there. I think, which would be pretty interesting to see. Why are they concerned about Maisie? They don't know anything about her, so this is going to be an interesting dynamic altogether. I can't wait to see how this goes down. Why are they helping her? They don't even know. And then we see Dr. Wu, and he says we need to fix a terrible mistake, which is probably the release of either the dinosaurs or probably the locusts. I'm not sure what, but he definitely looks like he's been through the wars. I think he's really hitting a low spot. He's in a very low place right now. He's unkept. He's wearing that brown cardigan rather than a lab coat. He looks like he's a defeated man just without a purpose now that he's being forced to potentially work for biosyn and all that. It is a very rough time for Dr. Wu right about now. I almost feel sorry for the guy, in a way. And then we see another shot, another new shot, of what looks like Ian Malcolm and Ellie Sadler, potentially, driving a car, and a piece of burning wood smashes onto the hood. Then, and of course, we see Maisie is also there, in the background, clutching on for dear life. I'm not sure what happened. It looks like maybe someone set off a bomb, a nuke. Someone just set the whole thing on fire and just said, fuck it, I want to see the world burn. I don't know. This is very interesting stuff, and I want to know how this fire even started. Who did this? And then next we see, once again, we see Alan and Maisie together behind a cage, and they look bewildered out of their minds. Like, they look like they just saw the devil incarnate behind that gate or cage or whatever. I'm not really much to talk about here. Like, they're clearly looking at something that is freaking them the hell out. Especially Alan, with, like, his big old bug eyes that he's displaying here proudly. I'm not sure. It could be the Giga. Maybe it's like, oh my god, what is that? Sort of face. I'm just so excited. Next up, we then get our first look at the Triceratops, which we didn't see in the first trailer, which is interesting. I think that, fuck. What am I saying? We didn't really see much of the I don't think we saw the Triceratops at all in the original trailer. But now we see the Triceratops here running alongside the Pseudoceratops. I'm looking forward to seeing how these two work out together, because, you know, we've never really seen these two ceratopsians together. We've seen Triceratops with Sinoceratops, I'm pretty sure, in Fallen Kingdom, but we've never seen these two together. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens between the Sinoceratops and the Pseudoceratops. I hope I didn't just say Sinoceratops. Ugh. And we're now reaching near the end of the whole thing. And we hear Owen say, "I could really use your expertise." And it cuts to Ian Malcolm, where it looks like they're in some kind of facility, like a trailer or whatever. It's very hard to make it. It almost reminds me of like the trailers from the Lost World, the ones that were over the cliff. This almost has that same feel to it and stuff like that. That's weird. I'm curious about how that happened. Then we get a bunch of shots from the previous trailer, and then we get another shot of the Atrociraptors in a scene from Malta. It looks like Claire and Owen, potentially, are driving around in a truck with an Atrociraptor, I can't make out which one, chasing after them, and it looks like it is gaining ground. This could either be Red Tiger or Panthera. I'm not sure which one it is. It's moving way too fast, and the lighting's too dim for me to be able to figure out which one it is. Not that I'd probably even figure out which one is which, because the red ones all look the same. The only one I can make out is Ghost, because that one's white. But I think it's pretty cool. We see an extended shot of the Atrociraptors chasing our cast of characters in Malta and things like that. That's sick. That is a sick shot, and I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys can do. We'll talk about why these characters are in Malta potentially in a moment as we get to the second trailer. And then we go back to that cage shot with Alan and Maisie, but Ellie Sadler's there, and it looks like she's trying to open up the gate. It looks like they're trying to get away from something, actually. It looks like they're in some kind of cave or a tunnel or something. I'm not sure, but clearly they don't want to be in there. So maybe Biosyn or someone knocked them out and put them in there in hopes that they'll get killed. I am not entirely certain of what's going to happen. But, you know what? I'm quite excited to see this. This is probably just shortly after like they were caught. Maybe they were captured and thrown in here in hopes that something would eat them. Finally, the big shot. The money shot we've been waiting for. The first time we ever see the Giganotosaurus animatronic in action. Holy crap, that thing is sick looking. Look at that thing. That is a monster of a dinosaur if I ever seen one. Also, I'd like to point out that this shot here is an Easter egg to what the T-Rex did after it threw Tim and the Ford Explorer off the cliff. It's doing that same roar, and I'll go ahead and play them next to each other so you guys can get so you guys can tell what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the Giga and how it's going to interact with these characters. Clearly, it's going to be a new big bad, and I'm clearly stoked for this. But anyway, that covers all the footage from the featurette. Now we need to go ahead and jump into the new TV spot that just came out. That's like 30 seconds. This one's really short, which is why I wanted to include it in this breakdown. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. We are introduced to a shot of the new demon Carnotaurus coming out of what looks like a paddock. The doors are opened up. It looks like it's in a warehouse or something in Malta. Then we see Owen and an Allosaurus pop out from behind him. it appears that these two dinosaurs are in this warehouse for a reason. And apparently, there is this poster that I've showed in my previous video that said that these two were supposed to fight each other in a battle. So I'm assuming what's happened in Malta and the reason why Owen and Claire are there is because of the fact that they're hosting dinosaur battles, underground dinosaur battles, in Malta, and Owen and Claire are there to put a stop to it. And of course, the main event is an Allosaurus and a Carnotaurus. Interestingly enough, an image from Empire Magazine shows a juvenile Allosaurus and a Baryonyx in a ring together, and apparently this Baryonyx has a prosthetic arm, which shows that this animal has been through abuse and in previous battles, and survived, even though it lost a limb. I think it's a cool concept. We've never really seen dinosaurs with prosthetic limbs before. I've never heard of that, so this is an interesting take, and I think it should be welcomed. I highly doubt that that arm actually moves around like an actual limb would, because it's a prosthetic. It's not supposed to. But then again, we were making dinosaurs in 1993, so I don't think it would be outside the realm of possibility in this universe. So, yeah, that's a pretty cool shot of the Allosaurus and the Carnotaurus together. Not much really going on after that, but we do see Ian Malcolm bring up another line, another great line. The doomsday clock might be out of time. And then we later hear a follow-up line with that. We're on the brink of extinction. So it might be a bit dramatic to say that. But what I think is, this is probably just at the beginning of the film where they talk about, oh, these dinosaurs are out of control. They're everywhere. They're destroying all of us. It is just chaos all over the place. Oddly enough, we then see a shot of Ian Malcolm behind what looks like the cage from the featurette, looking into the cage, being like, let's stay positive. I don't know about you guys, but this looks sus as all hell. I don't know about you guys, but this makes it feel like Ian Malcolm's the bad guy. And I don't think that's the case. I could be looking into it too much, but I don't think Ian is the villain. He can't be, right? He can't. And then we come to quite like a funny moment where Owen has Beta strapped to his back alongside Alan and Maisie. And Ian shows up and he's like, is that a dinosaur on your shoulder? And then Owen just casually is like, yeah, why? Like, oh, that's such a weird line. But there's also a weird cut in the middle, so I don't think that's actually part of that scene. So it looks like at this point that they've rescued Beta, or they're in the process of rescuing her. And it looks like I was correct about my theory about her being taken by Biosyn, because where else would she be right now? Anyway, so I think that about covers it for today's trailer breakdown. If you did enjoy it and you have any theories you guys want to send my way, go ahead and leave them in the comments down below. I've been having a lot of problems with spoilers lately. Yes, for those of you who claim to have seen the movie, please don't be an ass and spoil it in the comments. Like, come on, have some decency, man. Don't be an asshole. Because I can't tolerate spoilers. There are a lot of other people that don't tolerate spoilers. If you spoil, your comment will get deleted. I am sorry, but that is just how I roll. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed today's video and you want to see more Jurassic World Dominion content, leave a like, subscribe today, hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything new. Link to the Discord in the description down below. And until next time, this is Tyrannosaurus signing off. Alrighty then. Take care now. Bye-bye then.